What if I told you a single rainbow ribbon nearly cost an Olympic medal, or that one rose petal kiss hijacked European primetime ratings? Tonight, silentfame rips the lid off locker room legends with top 10 LGBTQ+ athletes who were almost kicked out, but fought back. You'll glimpse the secret testosterone file that shook the IAAF, the chromosome ultimatum that landed in a Supreme Court brief, and the live mic confession that crashed British football's betting markets overnight. These aren't headlines you've already scrolled past. They're the back of the bus whispers finally hitting surround sound. Keep track, because every number you drop in the comments rewinds another cover-up. Buckle up, truth just laced its cleats. Jason Brown, the sparkle that survived the ice. From the first pirouette under Olympic spotlights, Jason Brown turned an ice arena into a Broadway stage. His ponytail was a comet trailing neon as blades etched fiery curves on the ice. But lurking behind all that glamour was a whispered ultimatum. Dull your shine or your funding will melt like frost under a summer sun. Judges docked him for artistic excess. Sponsors demanded a buzz cut, and one icy official sneered, "Grace won't win gold." By 2020, his smile felt choreographed, every spin half asleep under the weight of secrecy. Brown laced a secret rainbow ribbon into his skate boots and stepped into 2021 as his true self, igniting the ice with rebellion. Each twist, and Ina Bauer became a defiant signature, arcs flashing like lightning across the rink. His footwork exploded in fireworks that left judges and fans breathless. Free of the old mask, every jump soared higher, the ridges of fear now petals of pride. Even distant rinks hummed with the news. Critics who once scoffed now lifted him up. Hit like if you'd cue for his next glorious performance. Nicolas Puschmann, the reality prince who refused to edit Love Germany, handed Nicolas Puschmann a rose-strewn throne room and a whispered warning. Same-sex romance is fine. Just don't scare away the Tuesday night sponsors. Under sparkling chandeliers and blazing cameras, the set felt like a cursed fairy tale castle. As the first gay Prince Charming, he weathered trolls and even death threats, producers whispering, maybe skip the hand-holding on national TV. Puschmann did the opposite. He planted fiery kisses under the spotlight, sweeping his co-star into embraces that became nightly revelations. He spoke about anxiety and acceptance, each word a lifeline for viewers watching at home. Young fans who thought they were alone found themselves cheering at home. Ratings didn't crater. They soared like fireworks. Advertisers stayed on board, proving queer love is good business. Puschmann's face was on every headline. He wore the frenzy like a crown of courage. In lonely living rooms and crowded pubs, people cheered as their TV hero refused to be erased. Drop a 2 if seeing his love on. Screen ever helped you breathe easier? Alec Yoder, the gymnast who landed honesty. Alec Yoder was the pommel horse prodigy in a sport of stone-faced perfection. Muscles taut, lines razor straight, zero rainbow tape in sight. In fluorescent gym lights and chalk fog, each routine was worshipped like prayer to stoic masculinity. Coaches warned him, whispers trailing his training, "Wait until retirement," they said. "Don't scare off your sponsors." Weeks after the 2020 games, he flipped the script. With 4 quiet words on social media, "I'm gay, I'm grateful," he shattered silence like glass. The entire gymnastics world held its breath. Sponsors braced for a storm, but the only wave was positive. Camp sign-ups spiked. Young gymnasts found courage. Free of camouflage, Yoder became an open book on the vault. He visited schools, turning gym mats into stages of honesty and acceptance. In assembly halls, his voice rang out like a bell, talking anxiety, self-doubt, and the beauty of being yourself. He proved true courage isn't just landing a triple flip, it's naming your fear before you flip and still soaring. He sported rainbow grips drop a 3, if you think that redefines strength. Jake Daniels, the teen striker who bent every rule. At 17, Jake Daniels darted past defenders twice his size, fearless and fueled by a crooked grin. But his fiercest match was off the pitch. No active male footballer had come out in nearly 3 decades. In boardrooms and locker rooms, advisors whispered caution. Wait until your market value stabilizes. Jake did the opposite. Live on Sky Sports, he stood in front of flashing cameras and said simply, "I'm gay." The scene felt cinematic. Late afternoon rain soaking the turf, press lights flashing like lightning as truth was spoken. Suddenly, he was a hero and a hashtag. Team legends patted his shoulder. Supporters in the terraces waved rainbow flags and chanted his name. Pundits predicted his career would be sidelined by scandal. Instead, he became a scoring star for social change. Shirt sales spiked and sponsors lined up. A headline might have read, "Boots don't care who you love, only how fast you run." In pubs and playgrounds, people cheered a game-changing moment. His bravery wrote a new playbook for sport. A new era was born. Subscribe if you think football's closet deserves a red card. Keegan Hirst, the rugby titan who tackled shame. Keegan Hirst was a mountain of muscle in front row rugby, the kind who charges the scrum without batting an eye. But inside, he carried a secret heavier than any opposition. 2 kids, a marriage, and a truth that pounded at him like a war drum. Midway through the 2015 season, under gray skies and roaring crowds, he made it public. "I'm gay, and I'm staying on the pitch." The announcement hit like a kickoff, shocking sponsors. Some paused support, and a few fans hurled slurs as pages turned in tabloids. His teammates braced for drama, but Hirst answered with bone-crunching tackles and unwavering eyes. Each heavy hit was a statement, each recovery a reminder of his grit. On muddy fields, he refused to be sidelined. Off the pitch, he did even more. He lifted younger players and toured schools, swapping scrum drills for pep talks. In assembly halls, he spoke of self-love and resilience, making an entire generation sit up and listen. He proved that raw strength and open heart can be teammates, not rivals. Ball in one hand, honesty in other. Drop a 5 if you've ever chosen honesty over hiding. Caster Semenya, the runner who outpaced regulation. When Caster Semenya burst out of the starting blocks, the world watched a champion. Track officials watched a controversy unfold. She tore up the 800-meter track with strides that shook the stadium, but behind the scenes, athletics meetings became courtroom dramas. Controversial testosterone rules demanded she medicate or vanish from races. Semenya refused to shrink herself. Instead, she laced up her spikes and lawyered up, turning the halls of bureaucracy into a racetrack. She raced from CAS to the Swiss courts while running world best times on the track, refusing to let paper slow her stride. Her defiance sent a shockwave back home in Limpopo. Girls ran barefoot after school, emulating her speed and spirit. She outran not just opponents, but prejudice itself. In boardrooms from Dusseldorf to Moscow, voices debated as her feet pounded pavement around the globe. Each time she crossed a finish line, fans saw not just a champion, but a pioneer. Her story etched itself into history. Caster proved true talent doesn't need permission. Drop a 6 if talent should never need permission slips. Rene Richards, the surgeon who served aces at the Supreme Court back in the 1970s, doctor. Rene Richards didn't need hashtags to change the game. After transitioning, she earned a U.S. Open qualifying spot. The crowd saw a champion with a racket. Officials saw something to fear. They demanded chromosome tests and banned her from that first serve. But Richards had more power than any serve. She took her fight to court. In 1977, a New York judge ruled in her favor, rewriting the rule book and serving up a glass-smashing victory for equality. She stepped onto the court as a hero, not a token. Critics worried she'd dominate the women's draw, but her ranking peaked at a respectable 20. She wasn't there for easy wins. She was there to teach the world fairness. Her forehand fired ideas and her backhand smashed barriers. Her legacy still reverberates through tennis law and every locker room. Renee laced up her sneakers and served truth at full speed. She volleyed court rulings and fired ace after ace at injustice. She proved power has no gender in sport. Game. Drop a 7 if her backhanded bigotry still echoes. Fallon Fox, the fighter, who refused to tap out. Fallon Fox didn't just enter the cage. She stared prejudice down with bare knuckles. In 2013, the featherweight fighter calmly told a reporter she was transgender, at which point MMA promoters yanked her next fight. Politicians whipped up emergency bans, and opponents around the world shouted, "Man in disguise," when the news broke. Fox had already passed every medical and athletic tests. She didn't flinch. Instead, she knelt in training and rose stronger. When she finally fought, her actions silenced the doubters. She landed knockout after knockout, each strike carrying the weight of her story. In classrooms, she taught that biology is not bigotry. She's a science educator by trade. Hate mail piled up like discarded flyers, but so did DMs from trans teens. Teens who, inspired by her courage, signed up for jiu-jitsu and found their own strength. Fallon turned every stereotype into a sparring partner. Every time she won or spoke, she chipped away at a cage of ignorance. Skill beats stigma, even with judges sitting ringside. Drop an 8 if that lands like a roundhouse to ignorance. Fight on. Leah Thomas, the swimmer who rocked the lanes. When Leah Thomas sliced through the water and touched the wall first at the 2022 NCAA Championships, a shockwave rippled through the pool. Under bright lights and camera flashes, suddenly the scoreboard wasn't the only thing stirring headlines. Some teammates cried foul and even petitioned against her. Lawmakers at the state and national level rushed to ban her. Thomas had followed every NCAA hormone guideline, yet overnight she became a lightning rod in a bitter culture war. Sports channels debated her before the next heat had even started. In the face of all that noise, Leah kept her goggles on and her stroke steady. Each lap was her answer, calm, fast, determined. She also kept her degree on track, online classes and study sessions continuing, even as she swam in the spotlight. Critics shouted about fairness, but she let the water do the talking. With each powerful kick, she forced a question. If sport is gatekeeper for gender, whose rules get to define womanhood? She keeps racing while others argue. Inclusion was her finish line. Drop a 9 if inclusion should be part of every race plan. Chris Mosier, the multi-sport engine who rewired the Olympics before 2015, any trans man who dreamed of the Olympics faced a bureaucratic maze of rules. Chris Mosier chose to sprint through it anyway. He became the first known transgender athlete to qualify for Team USA in duathlon, proving that one person's grit could rewrite the playbook. While the world watched, Mosier logged marathon rides at dawn, ran track sprints, and tackled policy alike. The IOC quietly rewrote its rules after he left competitors in his dust. Boards whispered about controversy as he chalked up victories. News cameras caught him crossing finish lines and chatting with policymakers. Nike plastered his face on billboards, turning his journey into a celebration. Today, he splits time between podiums and policy workshops, helping others train as hard as they legislate. He proves rule books bend faster when a trans athlete is pacing the track. Every mile was a message. He crossed finish lines and barriers with the same stride. Mosier co-founded a foundation to give everyone a starting block. Everyone has a lane. Subscribe if that stamina fuels your own comeback lap. And there you have it, 10 proof-positive reminders that authenticity is the ultimate power move. Some turned lawsuits into gold medals, others flipped slurs into record sales. But every one of them proved the same truth. Sport isn't just about who crosses the line first. It's about who refuses to be pushed out of the race. Which story hit hardest? 1 through 10. Drop that number below, smash subscribe if you're hungry for more untold victories, and tap like so the algorithm knows Pride plays year-round. Next week, we're breaking down the Hollywood icons who turned studio blacklists into blockbuster comebacks. Don't miss it. See you in the spotlight.